I've been in this neighborhood for at least 34 years. You know, and when they see something like this is New York. When you see me, you see New York, you know, in Manhattan. This is what it's all about.
Most of Greenwich Village was landmarked in the late 1960s, but large chunks of it were not, especially the meatpacking district, the waterfront, and what's sometimes referred to as the South Village, which is kind of the old Italian immigrant part of the village south of Washington Square Park. We think that that working class history and that immigrant history is an enormously important part of what makes the village in New York so special.
Celebrities live here and very wealthy people in fancy towns, yet there's an aging population of people in rent-stabilized units. And we have a lot of kids moving in from NYU and 3 million tourists a year. There's a population boom here in the village and in Soho, and there's not enough kindergarten seats. You know, there's lotteries and things like that, which is kind of obscene. You know, affordable housing, open space, certainly schools. I mean, those are our big issues. Certainly schools. We're always trying to keep the density lower in the village so that, you know, we don't become like, you know, the Emerald City. So we have an obligation to keep the balance between our residential population and their uncanny need to sleep at night. But everybody wants a restaurant here because we've got those 3 million tourists. That other communities that have larger populations don't have that intense influx of tourism. You know, we sometimes get criticized as being too tough on new liquor licenses. But if we didn't, that's what we would have. We'd have no shoemakers, we'd have no stationery stores, we would have no groceries, we would just have eating and drinking establishments because people want to come where there's a lot of business, and this is where it is.
The tech startups here, so Google is here, Spotify. So you have a great mix of not only arts, but technology and business.
Well, working in a small business in general is great. I've tended to always work with small businesses, and it's something that, like, personally I find really valuable, and I know when I shop and when I go to the market, that's what I like to contribute to because it's a community.
So we still have the ability to have these smaller, boutique-y kinds of stores that keep the charm of the village and the density of the village. But, you know, we're under attack because, you know, I said developers come in, they said, we love it here, how can we screw it up? You know, that's their mantra.
In Greenwich Village, we've been able to get some landmark designations, really big, important ones, extended to parts of the neighborhood that weren't landmarked. These rules and regulations really affect the future of our neighborhood. They affect the way it's going to change, and they affect what about it is going to stay the same. So it's really important that we get those rules set up in such a way that they reinforce those aspects of the neighborhood that we really want to hold on to, whether it's low scale, certain kinds of uses, as I said before, residential as opposed to dorms and hotels, affordable housing. There's a variety of things that zoning can help reinforce or preserve. This city council and the city in recent months passed this enormous 20-year expansion plan for NYU, which is now in court, and my organization is one of the plaintiffs in a case that are trying to overturn some of those approvals. We think that it's basically a 20-year ticking time bomb in our neighborhood because it would allow this massive, massive expansion that would take place over 20 years, a huge amount of construction, which would be detrimental both in terms of just the noise and environmental impacts of 20 years of construction in the middle of a residential area, but also in terms of changing the character of the neighborhood. So, you know, we may succeed in the courts, but either way, we hope that our city council members will be supportive of efforts to put a brake on that and to look at reasonable alternatives that would allow the university to grow in the ways that it needs to without overwhelming this neighborhood.
And then we hope that that person becomes an advocate in the city council, a leader in the city council on those issues that are most affecting us.
The city council members are incredibly important to these kinds of issues because the city council has the final vote on basically all major land use issues in the city. So whether it's zoning or approval of new projects or landmark designations, you know, these guys make the key decisions, and their job is to be the representative of their local community while looking out for citywide interests as well. The qualities that, you know, I think are really important is hopefully you're looking for people who have an appreciation of what it is that's important and distinctive about these communities, what it is that people care about, what it is that they want in their neighborhoods, what are the reasons why they're here, why they choose to live in those communities when they could live in other places, their ability to stay independent because they're going to face tremendous pressure from big business, from editorial boards, from large institutions that have exponentially more power and influence than the average people that the members of the city council are elected to represent.